Have you ever stopped to think about what's really happening inside a kid's brain when they first learn to read? It's way more than just memorizing A, B, C. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden science behind that very first step. We're talking about the foundational framework that all reading is built on. So let's get right to, well, the skeleton of it all.
I mean, that's such a powerful way to think about it, right? Bones give your body its structure. And in the exact same way, consonants give a word its structure. They're the solid, dependable parts of our language that give everything its fundamental shape.
Okay, so this chart just breaks it down perfectly. You've got consonants on one side. They're the sharp, stable anchors of our speech. Think about the B in bat. It's always the same, super clear. Vowels, on the other hand, they're the melody. They flow, they change, and that right there is exactly why we teach consonants first. You got to build the skeleton before you can give it a voice.
All right, so we know consonants are the building blocks, but how are they physically made? It all comes down to the simple mechanics of your own mouth and how it shapes these critical sounds.
It's such a simple question, isn't it? But the answer, well, the answer unlocks an incredibly powerful teaching technique. Because it's not just about what you hear, it's about what your mouth is physically doing.
And there it is. That's the whole secret. Every single consonant sound you make, from a punchy P to a buzzy Z, is just the result of you interrupting the air flowing out from your lungs. The real magic and all the meaning is in how you interrupt it.
And this just illustrates that perfectly. You can try this right now. For the buzz sound, feel that? Your lips press together, they completely block the air for a split second. For the F sound, your lower lip touches your upper teeth, and for G, you can literally feel the back of your tongue rise up. Every sound has its own distinct physical move.
And this is what makes this whole method so incredibly powerful. You're connecting something totally abstract, a sound, to a concrete physical feeling. Suddenly, learning becomes tangible. It's no longer just something a child hears, it's something their body actually does, and that forges a much, much stronger connection in the brain.
So how does all this cool science turn into a practical way to teach? Well, what you're about to see might actually surprise you, because the most effective way to teach reading, it doesn't start with the eyes at all.
Before a kid can ever hope to connect a letter on a page to a sound, they need this skill first. It's called auditory discrimination. Now that's a fancy term for something pretty simple. It's just the ability to listen to a word like sun and pull out that first hissing S sound, separating it from everything else.
So here's the first mission, and it's a big one. Forget the alphabet. Seriously, the very first goal is simply to train the ear. Can a child hear that sock and sand start the same way, but that moon sounds different? When the answer to that question is yes, well, that's the real starting line for learning to read.
And this slide basically lays out the whole roadmap. You start by introducing the physical sound, that puff of air that is B, and the feeling of making it. Then, and only then, do you connect it to the symbol, the letter B. After that, you ground it in the real world with actual objects. You make it stick by adding a physical action. And finally, you mix and review, blending new sounds with old ones to build up that memory. It's a really powerful path from just a sound to permanent knowledge.
Okay, so once that foundation of sound is solid, how do we build on it? Well, this is where we really crack the code. We turn all these individual little pieces into fluent reading, and we do it not through boring drills, but through play. This is probably the most crucial shift of all, from chore to game. I mean, for a kid, the absolute surest way to make knowledge stick is to make it fun. Reinforcement shouldn't feel like a test. It should feel like movement, discovery, and yeah, a lot of laughter. And this can look like so many different things. A sound treasure hunt turns the whole living room into a phonics playground. Sound jump gets kids up and moving. And I love this mirror talk idea. It directly ties back to that physical connection we talked about, letting a kid literally see how their mouth makes a sound. It's all just learning, brilliantly disguised as fun.
So if you take just one thing away from this whole explainer, let it be this. Learning to read begins with learning to listen. Before any of us can become readers, we first have to become expert listeners, able to hear and identify all those little individual sounds that make up our language.
So, we've built the skeleton, right? The solid, dependable bones of our words are all in place. But what happens next? What happens when we finally add in the vowels, the melody and the music that bring all those bones to life? Well, that's the next step in cracking the code.